Hello everyone, welcome to the Red Men TV. It is the Uncensored Match Build-Up Show. It is a big one this weekend. It is Man City away, therefore at an empty Etihad. Liverpool bounce into this after beating Real Madrid. I'm joined by Sam Goodall-Walker and by Lewis Aspinall for this. Sam's been a naughty boy, so he's got his full name today.
Government name, I've been mummed.
Is it Samuel?
No, it's just actually
Samuel. That'd make it better, you know.
I could have, Samuel.
The teachers used to say it to me in school, and I used to ignore them and then get in trouble, and they'd say, well, my name's actually just Sam. That was my
So you took the moral high ground.
Samuel, good old... No, that's not me, mate.
You're not talking to me, mate. Me and Paul once pretended when we got into... we will talk about football. We went into sixth form, we had a new teacher, and we went, I think it was like general studies or something, so we decided... Well, we didn't decide, actually, I decided... The teacher shouted Paul Machin, so I said, yes, sir. or yes, miss, I can't remember what it was. So he then had to say yes to Chris Pajak. It was about 4 weeks, right? And we were like... We've got to tell someone, and Paul left our class and had to go to another class instead. And at that point, I had to go and like, I'm really sorry. I lied on the first day, and my name's not Paul Machin, and now there's no way of me not getting caught because Paul's left the class. So I'm going to get in trouble.
At night, sweating in bed, going, "Fuck! I need to tell them. I need to tell them."
When Paul gets a boss grade,
far too long. But I
see, you could have played that way. You could just not bother going and hope Paul goes and get a boss grade.
Yeah, I could have. You should have. I should have, because you definitely got a better grade than me as well, to be fair. Anyway, we are here to talk about the footy. We'll start off with the form guide. Manchester City's is looking pretty good. They've won 5 of the last 6 in all comps. That one blot is a loss away at Aston Villa. They're unbeaten at home since August. And Rodri will be a doubt for this game after the game against Dortmund that he missed out, so that's a big blow for them. But I suppose the big thing that Liverpool fans are thinking about, Sam, is are Man City going to be able to play slightly more direct than we've seen in previous years?
Yeah, I think their whole game plan now has changed from the Man City of old. We're just going to squeeze you, dominate, strangle you, where they have their 2 centre-backs, like literally 25 yards inside your half all game, and you just can't get out. I think that's changed now. I think they're much more of a counter-attacking team. I think the players they've got on is powerful. Obviously, some of them have aged a little bit. Others have left, maybe not as... They haven't replaced like for like in the same quality level. And I just think now what they've got is they've opened up the best version of City that suits Haaland. So I think, looking at that form guide, I know for a fact that they've beaten teams you would completely expect them to beat at home, and obviously the away games they've won as well. They haven't got any huge scalps in that. They haven't beaten a Chelsea. They beat United at home, but we should beat United at home. Should be the key word there. So I think that's what I expect from City this year, is to beat teams that you'd expect them to beat, and in a way lose the games and drop points in the games where teams actually have more quality than not necessarily than the teams that they're able to just walk all over. So that doesn't surprise me, all of those results.
No, I think that's right. But as Sam says, you can see they've got a little bit back to basics. It's not pure pep ball at the moment, is it?
No, I mean, this is a City team that they feel a bit more direct. They're the highest in the league for take-ons and the amount that they're actually going at people. And a lot of their shot-creating actions, the most they've had this season have come from Jeremy Doku, and the second have been Phil Foden. So you can see that they're trying to use the wide positions, whereas ordinarily for City, it's very much keep possession, try and find people going through the middle. Maybe you'll find them going off the last man. It does feel very different for them, but in saying that, they're also a team that in midfield, they're only 13th for the actual tackles they've won in that part of the pitch, so they do feel a lot less aggressive, like you touched on before. And I think that's the key area for us to exploit, particularly the way we're playing in midfield at the moment. So for all City have changed for the better for Haaland, as a whole for the team, where you're very reliant on Nico Gonzalez, who's won 14 of 16 attempted tackles, the most in that City team by a mile, it does feel very much like you can get them in that area because they're over-reliant on key individuals more so than the unit like we're used to seeing.
It's an interesting thing to think about their sort of weaknesses, but before we talk about their weaknesses, we've got to talk about their strength, Lewis. And that is Erling Haaland, isn't it? Like, do you know what I mean?
Mate,
absolutely ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. 13 goals in 10 Premier League games so far this season.
Yeah, I think their next highest is 2 goals or something.
That's own goals, by the way.
Yeah,
it is. And there's a string of players who've got 1 in the Prem.
Look, we've known Haaland's a freak for years. But he's just, it's because what can you do against him? He's incredibly quick. So if you think, okay, we'll just push up, he'll use that spacing behind. If you think, okay, we'll just squeeze him out the match, he's incredible in the air. He is one of those players that no matter what circumstance you put him in, he's going to find a way to cause issues for you. And that goal in particular against Brentford that he scored, and then the ones he scored against Bournemouth, where he's showcasing that he's not just someone who gets on the end of things. He's a creator now. He'll come deep, he'll receive the ball, he'll find different avenues of attack. And for us, it's the worst time to play him because he's not that one-dimensional player. There's been matches we've played Haaland where he's done nothing and we've marked him out the match completely. This feels like a very different version of him where it's going to take a lot more of a group effort to man mark him and get him out the match, more so than just going, right, stick Van Dijk on him, stick Canate on him, we'll be sound.
Yeah, I remember when we played them at Anfield last season, Sam, I was like quite low down in the Annie Lower, I think it was, and I think they were attacking us for a half, obviously, but I think it was the first half, and I was just watching his movements. I remember texting Paul going, lad, Haaland's movements are fucking ridiculous. Like, he's free a lot, but Liverpool was so good that day. It was the same week we beat Real Madrid.
Yeah, it was.
Same time of the year as well. And I just remember watching the game back and being like, we cut the sauce out. Yeah. Then, like, we just never gave the midfielders a minute to try and release Haaland. So his movement's still unbelievable, but now they're finding ways to get the ball to him. And my big concern at the moment, and you know, I shouldn't really say it like this, but I am going to, and it's no disrespect to our keeper, but like, Alisson's the best in the world at one-on-ones, and all I see is Haaland running through defences, behind defences and one-on-ones, and I think that's Mamadashvili's weakness, although, you know, it's early days.
It wasn't before, and I think the Brentford goal has kind of made us go, But I actually think he's made 2 or 3 decent one-on-ones. But I think before the game, it'll be a case of, right, George, you have to be aggressive today. You have to start high. I think for
not retreat.
Yeah, and that's it. Yeah,
because he'll beat it anyway. But if you make the goal bigger,
if you make it bigger, it might take it on the shoulder. He does miss chances, obviously. Do you know what I mean? He scores 1, sometimes 2 goals a game. He's not scoring 6 or 7 chances a game. He still does miss the target and stuff. I think a lot of the goals he's scored, where you watch him going through on goal, it's just this is the sort of carry on of these managers who are still really confident, like Iraola last week for Bournemouth. It's like they have to play that way to try and win the game, which I understand, and it's no real loss to them if they get beat to City away. But as a consequence of that, they concede 2 chances through the middle for tap-ins for Haaland's standard anyway. I think what we did against Real Madrid was a perfect warm-up.
The high press and the low block.
High press and the low block, because you can squeeze them, and as you said, and we've suffered it. Isak's an elite mover of the ball, and he doesn't lose the ball when he gets it to his feet. Vert, I watched the game at Anfield. Obviously, I don't go to away games anymore. I see Vert in place and go pass the ball to him. And, you know, I know we will talk about how we approach it in a sec, but it's the same thing. Is if you can stop the ball or block the avenues and get into him, no matter how good his movement is, like you say, the high press, and then when they do break through us, you just drop back behind the ball, and then that way it's got to spill to him in the box, and you can really restrict what happens there. It
seems like a perfect game plan for us, really, doesn't it, Lewis? Because obviously it's something that we've just enacted against Real Madrid. It worked really well. For all the possession that Real Madrid had, they didn't really create that many opportunities, and you'd hope that we could do the same against City.
Yeah, I think we need to. And in particular, like I said before, it's that midfield which suffocated them. They couldn't get any sort of avenue going forward. And against City, who, like I said before, they're very weak at the moment in midfield. It feels very passive. It's a big part of the pitch to get them out of the game, to make sure they can't, like Reinders, for example, Cherky, make sure they can't find Foden and Doku out wide. You've just got to smother them. And I think that at points, that is what we've lacked at times, is that aggressive nature, particularly towards the start of the season. We haven't been willing to get stuck in. We've lost the second balls. Now against Madrid, Villa, we even, like, United's best performance of the season, you know, like, couldn't slot. So you could see that sort of, that mentality of, we are going to win this ball. We're going to get this first and we're going to get things going. So we can't be passive against City, because they're the one team in this world that you can expect will just completely rip you to shreds if you go, right, do what you want, but you're not prepared to handle it by sitting deep like we did at the Etihad last season.
Well, did you watch the Dortmund game? Sorry to interrupt. I watched the Dortmund game, a lot of it, specifically to see what City were like. I haven't seen as much of them this year because it's Arsenal we've been kind of chasing. Yeah. And Dortmund just stood off City and allowed them to pass through. They were probably unlucky for the 3rd goal because it was a blatant elbow in the face. The ref didn't give it. It might have been too far back or whatever. But I watched them in the game, and until the last 10 minutes when they went 3-1 and then literally threw the kitchen sink at City, it was like they were stood off City. They weren't pressing. They were halfway. It was just, it's exactly what you'd want a football team to do. We can't do that. We've got every man from our back line and midfield is bigger and stronger than what they've got, bar Haaland, but you'd at least like to counteract that with maybe Konate and Van Dijk.
Yeah.
They've got 4 strong lads at the back, albeit one a young lad and one who's not really a right back, but they're 4 big strong lads, O'Reilly, whoever they play at the back too, and Nunes. And then they've got 3-4 small players. If Doku plays, 5 small players across the middle and then Haaland. That should be where we've got to be coming in, winning second balls, bullying them in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I think about the keeper as well. Obviously, it's a similar sort of, well, he's a different style of keeper to last season. It's obviously Ederson. He's a similar sort of shot stopper to what we faced midweek against Real Madrid, unfortunately, at the form that he's in at the moment. But in build-up play, if we're thinking about the high press, Donnarumma is not Ederson.
Yeah, well, it's because I think he's put in the most long balls for City this season. The lowest in the league for long balls, but Donnarumma is still the highest, which you'd expect from a goalkeeper. But you're right, he hasn't got that sort of that pinpoint accuracy that he does. It does feel at points like he just lashes it because he just wants to get rid of the ball. And he's a very, like you say, he's a brilliant shot stopper. I can't remember who it was, but his first match in particular for them, he was saving things left, right, and centre. It looked phenomenal. It might have been. He pulled off. It was United. It was in Bruno's shot.
Save,
yeah. So he's a brilliant shot stopper, but it is that distribution. The only worry I've got is, with regards to the long balls, if City do decide to change it up a bit and do that, and you've got someone like Haaland on the end of things, and you've got Doku and Foden and Reinders who are sort of running on to whatever ball he wins, there could be a problem given how much we've struggled against teams who play that way this season. So I'm hoping that it doesn't turn into that type of match from City, from Donnarumma in particular, who is proven this season that at points, rather than playing it out from the back, he does just want to get it long and just see where it goes.
But if we do that, we've got to do what we did against Real Madrid. I mean, they played 38 long balls against us, Real Madrid. It's not a small amount of long balls. You've got to swarm to it. You've got to be there and win the second ball. What I loved about Madrid was Van Dijk and Konate. It felt like if they had a chance to bring it down, they'd bring it down. If they didn't, they were passing. They weren't just heading it up. They were going, give it to my man and we'll try and win the ball then. That's what Liverpool have to do. It's those second balls. Because Man City, believe it or not, are top in the league for aerial win percentage out of any team. You wouldn't think that. Liverpool are second. So, and all right,
we were top at one point, but they've been bombarded in a couple of games.
And so it's those second balls that we're losing out on. Konate and Van Dijk are going to win them all day. Now we know teams are only going to do Daniel Sturridge attempt at headers. You know, when we used to lick the ball up to him, we've got to win those second balls.
Against Man United, it was dead obvious that Mason Mount and Bema weren't going to win those headers, and Cunha. So they played for the second ball, which we clocked onto second half. Brentford was a bit more of a dogfight, but it is those second balls, like you say, in those 2 games in particular, because I think we had other problems in other games. But I do think, though, physically, again, like if that ball drops and you've got a 3-man midfield rather than a 2 and a 1, I do think the physicality of Gravenberch, McAllister and Szoboszlai, you would imagine, even if Curtis plays, will out physically battle against the lads that are in there. All right, they've got fantastic first touch and stuff like that, but if you can step your body across or get a foot in or stick an elbow in, you're slowing the game down. If Haaland does win headers, it probably suits us more, because if he flicks it on, if we're pressing high, Doku and whoever plays on the right will probably be a bit deeper to receive the ball, so they're not going to be able to get onto it. And if he just about wins it in the air and brings it down, it's not going to be in full control. Like you said, it's these, you win it, we'll pick up the second ball. Haaland's not going to do that. Haaland's going to compete. So I actually think that suits us. If Ederson was playing, I'd be concerned about the ball getting dropped over our centre backs when we were pushing high. But he's not playing. I think that's
what massive. I mean. Yeah, and it's perfect of that Etihad game last season where any time they had the ball, we didn't give them a second when it was coming towards us. We have to be like that again. If you're willing, if we're gonna do the same thing, sit back, soak up pressure, whatever, hit them on the counter attack, that's fine. But if you're not willing to win every second ball and actually put in a fight, you're just gonna get rolled over by City. So
have they got anyone who can take a long throw?
No.
Yes!
It's a completely different game of football. Like, this is controversial, this. Ready? I still think we're the best football team in the Premier League.
Oh, when teams come at us, we're going to batter them.
But that's what a football team. We've not been playing football in the sense of football, like the purity of European football.
And you shouldn't have to, should you?
No, and I get that, and it is what it is, and it's great, it's exciting and all that, but if you want to play a game of football, us at our best will beat you 9 times out of 10.
I agree, but
so that's what you've got to hope this game becomes.
I 100% agree with that. But if I'm Burnley coming up,
absolutely,
right, I'm fucking dogging it out, because we did with Sean Dyche, we stayed in the league for 10 years, you come up with Vincent Kompany, you're not going to be able to compete with Manchester City and Liverpool.
So many teams have tried that.
Yeah, exactly. And this is it. It's just unfortunate that it's this year, because I think Josh Williams said it on a podcast the other week, maybe. He's like, we've bought like small technical players to beat the low block, and all of a sudden the league's 6'5" and they're dogging it out, and our lads are just a little bit smaller and a little bit more technical.
That's what it used to be like.
Yeah, and if we were playing football sides every week, we'd absolutely batter them, but we're not. So we've got to figure out a way, haven't we? That's
Football always wins. Football always wins. It's just when. And sometimes it might not be right now, and this year, but football always ends up winning.
Yeah, it does, and rightfully so. Okay, we'll have a quick break, then we'll talk about Liverpool. But before we do, I just want to let you know that we've got less than 100 of our Christmas jumpers left right now. They are absolutely brilliant. So if you want them, you have to get them quickly, as quick as I can find it on the website.
There you go.
There it is. I could have just... probably got one lying around somewhere. Less than 100 left. There's a couple of sizes that are sold out. I think the 2XL is now sold out. If I remember correctly, there's like 3 smalls left and 3 mediums left, and just a handful, really. A couple of handfuls of large and XL, and they'll be shipping from Monday. So yeah, get your hands on one of them and get yourself sorted for Christmas. And we've got an ad break, which is just to say that we've got a prize draw coming up, so check that out, and then we'll talk about Liverpool Football Club, the greatest football club in the land.
Hey everyone, it's November, and at the end of the month, one of our wonderful Red Men Plus Legend subscribers will be winning these. Yes, they are a pair of goalkeeper gloves, and they are signed by former Reds goalkeeper Bruce Grobler. He won league titles, he won FA Cups, he even won the European Cup as well. And yet at the end of November, one of you lucky Red Men legends will get these goalkeeper gloves. So yeah, head on over to redmenplus.com, join us as a Legend subscriber, and if you do that, at the end of the month, you'll be in the draw, and this pair of wonderful goalkeeper gloves could be on their way to you.
Welcome back then, thank you very much. We're going to talk about Liverpool Football Club right now. Slot in his press conference has said that it was easier for Liverpool to play Villa and Real, as he knew what they'd be playing like. Same should probably apply to City. We've kind of talked about that a little bit already, but from a Liverpool sense, is there anything in the change of tactics maybe from the last couple of games? We did see Curtis Jones and Szoboszlai form like a part of either a 4-4-2 or a 4-2-4 last season. They were up front and pressing high, weren't they?
Yeah, I think the difference this year is he's probably got more of a balanced attack in terms of his choices. Obviously, Núñez wasn't really somebody who he trusted in the end, and I think Jota with his long-term injury, he was never quite 100% fit, was he, in the end last year, because he had to have that extra operation at the end of the season. So I don't think it quite ever fitted what we were trying to do, so it was the safest bet for him. None of us saw it coming, did we? Let's be honest. But I do think this year Ekitike has got the shirt, so I don't think he would do the same thing again. There might be some similarities off the ball in terms of where Ekitike's starting position was impressive and things like that, but I do think that, and also the fact that we're likely to have another striker on the bench alongside Chiesa. Isak should be available to be in the squad, so I don't see a world where we start the game with 4 central midfielders here again.
Yeah, what about you then? Do you think it's just going to be, we've got 2 clean sheets, got a 3-man midfield, it's kind of working at the moment, why change anything?
Yeah, I'd like to think it would be just a case of don't fix what isn't broken and just stick with what we're doing at the minute because it's working. And with Wirtz in particular being on that left-hand side, if you need someone else to come into midfield, you've got that option there, and he's able to play a multitude of positions, which benefits us. But it is 3 games in 7 days. Was it 7 days, 8 days? It's been like very quick succession.
It'll be 9 days to be fair by the time we play these.
Yeah,
it's a big
which
5-day gap.
It's a lot of time, but there is a few players in that team, particularly in defence, who you think you might need to consider rotating.
Well, I want to stick with the Wirtz stuff now, and I know normally we do this bounce around the goalkeeper, defender, and stuff, but I think it's an interesting point. Like, Pep Guardiola will have seen what Florian Wirtz did against Real Madrid. Nominally left-hand side attacker, did bits over there, of course, but really it was about him finding space and being given the freedom to, go and find space, but also it doesn't affect the tenacity of the midfield and the spacing of the midfielders as well. Like, is that something that you can think that Slot might do against Manchester City with maybe someone like, who's the midfielder that he play at right back?
Núñez?
Yeah. Núñez.
Is it going to, will he know what to do if Wirtz goes missing type of thing? Or do you think it maybe just goes back to Gakpo and plays a bit more of a traditional sort of forward?
I'd like to see him stick with Wirtz Purely because you're absolutely spot on with the assessment, but also I think as well Wirtz is better in tight spaces. And if City are in particular going to try and press us off the ball, like we saw against Madrid, there's so many situations with Wirtz where he has 2 or 3 players around him and he's still able to find space. And against City, who do pressure you at points, particularly when you get to their defensive third, we're going to need that there, because we can't have someone like Gakpo who, for all that he's a brilliant player at points, he's very one-dimensional and he does have a habit of running himself into danger. So I think keeping Wirtz is a priority at the minute.
I thought he was quite sharp off the bench as well, Gakpo.
Yeah.
I thought Salah should have found him, and I thought he almost got the goal. I thought he was a threat. I thought that they're sort of against tired legs. Manchester City have played Sunday, Wednesday, and they're going against Sunday. So they've played, that extra day after us each time, which will play a part. And I think Bournemouth was probably a more taxing game than Villa, and probably not much difference in the Madrid and Dortmund game in the end. But I think it worked. I wouldn't like to see us change that. I think Wirtz can cause chaos. Whoever plays right centre-back for them is not going to be that quick.
So I think it's John Stones at the minute.
Or even if it's Diaz and Gavardio, which is what it was the other day, wasn't it, in terms of the Champions League game. So whoever is in there isn't quick. Donnarumma isn't an aggressive goalkeeper.
I think it was Stones. I'm just looking at it. It was Stones and Gavardio at the Dortmund game.
Yeah. Was it? So who played?
It was Diaz before.
With Diaz before. So
weekend,
I would imagine it would be... anyway, any of those three, none of them are quick. Gavardio's got a bit more pace. He's younger, but I think Wirtz can be about it. And Nunez is not a natural right back. So... I quite like that.
The unorthodox style of it.
I think the thing with that as well, and why I like the way that Florian Wirtz interpreted that sort of position, I'm sure the manager spoke to him about it and gave him that sort of license to roam. You can't just do that, can you?
Yeah.
But it gives us, with Ekitike and Isak, sort of their natural inclination is to go forwards. We played at times last season with Diaz, who drops in. We've had it for years with Firmino, who drops in. Now, that always gave us an extra body in midfield. Firmino created the box midfield before the box midfield was created by fullbacks. Yeah. Right? And I'm sure that somebody else did it before then and did it before then. With Wirtz, we get that box midfield. We get 4, and Slot wants to control the centre. And I think if you want to beat Manchester City, you have to be confident enough to go through the centre of the pitch, and Wirtz gives us that.
Yeah, it also opens up space for Robertson, which is where we want to see, and where the system suits Robertson now. In that we've done the last couple of games is that if you do sit deep on a low block, you haven't got space behind Robertson, which is where his worst nightmare is. And going forward on the ball, we trust him a lot more at the moment than Kirkes, so therefore that's perfect for him. You either you counter press high or you sit deep, and Wirtz plays his part. I just think it works a lot better. Like I said, I like Gakpo off the bench as well. I think he can be a real threat coming on against relatively tired legs.
Very direct kind of player, particularly like you said of Nunez in particular, who's getting run ragged with Wirtz coming inside, and then he's getting pulled out of position with Robertson trying to overlap. Bringing on Gakpo then, when you've got tired legs, who's a very direct player, is not going to do you any favours.
No, okay, we're going to try and predict the 11 then. We'll start with goalkeeper. Alisson's still not available. Lews. So it's going to be Mamardashvili. In terms of defenders, the big question is the left back, isn't it? It's Robbo or Kirkes.
If it was down to me, I think Robbo needs to keep that position in the team 100%. Not just tactically, but I think what he brings to this caliber of match. Like I said a few months ago, and so many people disagreed. I said Robertson adds more to this team behind the scenes and as a personality than Tsimikas could hope to do. No disrespect to him because he's brilliant, but we saw in that Madrid match, we saw against Villa, we've seen time and time again, when he's thrown in, everything just feels a bit more composed in the back line. The only arguments I can think for Kirkes being brought in currently is A, Robertson has played a lot of minutes, Slot touched on it today, but he has had a bit of rest. And B as well, I think if City, they often change wingers, they'll interchange. Doku sometimes drifts out to the right, Foden goes left. Robertson has a history of struggling against that calibre of winger at the moment, particularly Madueke this season as an example, or last season even. So if Doku does make that change, I think I'd trust Kirkes a little bit more to match his pace and be able to sort of be a bit more aggressive and quick to him, more so than Robertson would at the moment.
Yeah, I think the arguments as well, potentially for Kirkes, would be like, this is the kind of game where he would have thrived last season. It's not going to be big lads on him getting bullied elbows and the physicality of it. Obviously, on the ball, he's probably started off okay and drifted on a downward path with his confidence and the results and all that, and being a young lad moving to a new team. That's why I want to see Robbo win this game personally. And I've said I think Robbo's finished from the level. He's never going to get back to the level. I think this is a temporary point until Kirkes comes in. But right now for this game, I think going there with Arsenal will likely win, although I'm fingers crossed on Saturday. there's going to be a lot of pressure on both teams in this game. Someone's got to win to keep the pressure on them. You want your experienced head to at least start the game. And I think the gap's been enough.
Yeah.
Easy. I don't think Palace took that much out of him. Yeah. I think it was quite an easy game.
There is a break after this.
And there's
match.
a break, yeah. We go into international duty, of course. Captain
Bradley's going to play right back, isn't he?
He's got to play right back. Yeah. And it comes on to it. A settled back four, 2 clean sheets on the bounce, the same back four for those two. I felt a lot more calm with Robertson in the side. Bradley, as Bradley is, he always seems to be the man for the big occasion for me, Sam.
Yeah. He does, and what we forget last year is, in the Madrid game, although we won the league at Cancer and stuff like that, is we actually had some issues after that game in that we lost Konate because that idiot substitute who came on Endrick kicked him in the last minute and we lost him for like 6 weeks. But Bradley also pulled his hamstring in that game. If you remember, Trent came back in for the City game. So Bradley didn't get that chance to kick on after absolutely levelling Mbappe and having a great game. He's just absolutely had the best game I've ever seen a right back ever have against Vinicius. I've never seen anyone handle him like that, ever. Honestly, ever. He always gets the better. He might not get a goal, but he literally stopped them, dribbling him every time. To now have a little break, that confidence is there going into the next game. And he knows he's our starting right back now, which is a big thing. Like, clearly, I think this is a massive moment for Conor Bradley's career.
Yeah, and Doku, he'll be going up against, will it? Or...
Yeah. He's got to do the same thing. He's got to step across him rather than letting him run and try and match him feet. Because they were trying to say on TNT on Wednesday, the rocking horse, as Hargreaves is calling it, no one does it better than Doku. And I thought, mate, Vinicius, who played last night, makes him look silly doing that, albeit he didn't have a great game. But Vinicius is a better player than Doku is in every way. Yeah. The only thing, he's a bit smaller maybe, but he's just got to step across him like he did Vinicius. And you'll be fine. And I think that's just what he's got to do. Don't try and match him skill for skill almost and read him. Step across his movements.
That's what Trent tried. Trent tried it 2 seasons ago with him, and he just got ran ragged. Just hot standing off him. You've just got to get to him.
Step across
as fast as you can. Okay. The centre backs then. What they can't do, I think, Lewis, is what Konate can't do is get in a physical battle with Haaland.
No, but
disagree if you disagree, mate.
I think I agree because look, he's not going to win that battle. Konate's class in the air, we've seen that this season. He was great against Madrid, but I just think if you're going to try and mark Haaland out the game, he is probably going to need Van Dijk to give him a hand. Because against Newcastle this season, for example, was against Dan Burn, just for that set piece, Konate can have a habit of easily getting beat in the air at points. But I don't know. It's a coin flip for me.
I think
Haaland relishes those battles, doesn't he?
It's more when the ball's short, though, and Konate's scrapping with you and he gets free kicks. When the ball's played down the channel... When the ball plays down the channel, Konate's usually elite.
Oh, he's rapid. He's
banging you off the ball and then getting up for if he has one of them early, good luck Haaland.
And he's allowed to play the ball out for a throw-in against City. That's the other thing. When you whip that ball out over the fullbacks, the easier out, of course, is just putting it out for a throw-in, but that puts us in danger against some sides in the league nowadays.
Totally, yeah. But yeah, I am okay with Haaland. The only thing you don't want is the ball getting played through and Haaland run onto it. That doesn't matter who you are. A striker run on Shana, Adamov. But I actually don't mind it. I think if the ball goes into the channel and he's running with him, as a big defender, do you want that chance to just go bang, knock him on the deck, get the ball and scoop up, and we all go ee-boo in the away end? A la Paris, although we got beat, but he was unbelievable in that game. That's kind of what we want.
Okay. Does anyone think that Haaland might look at trying to have a go at Van Dijk this season?
I don't think you can.
Look at his face there, go on.
I don't think you can at the minute. In the air, Van Dijk is just, he's feels like a very elite level. Those first few matches we played, I think it was up until Atletico Madrid, and it was something like...
Oh, he's not going to win him in the air, no?
No, we won't beat him in the air. It will be, if he is, like you said, it's going to be on the ground. That might be the only part where he thinks, right, I'm going to have a go going towards Van Dijk.
Running that channel, maybe?
Yeah, that's the only
Van Dijk doesn't like running the channel anymore, no. I don't think.
But that's another reason perhaps why you could look at, should Kerkez be starting, because Robertson's going to track back and Kerkez will do the same, but Kerkez has got that added sort. He's a bit quicker than Robertson. He's much faster. He'll at least cover that gap if he needs to.
The thing of what City have done, I saw a stat like Foden scored something like the most goals from outside the box in so many games or something. He scored 2 at the weekend, passing it into the corner. Sorry, in the week, passing it into the corner. Different pressure game, obviously, but I do worry a little bit about the one thing, if I could say about Van Dijk that he does a little bit habitually recently, is he sort of plays the percentage and sort of backs off and says, go on, shoot from 20 yards and beat my keeper.
I think he did it against Chelsea.
He did it 3 times against Villa, and one of them hit him and the goalkeeper made the save. I think in this game, if that's the case, Slot's got to say to him, you've got to get out because they will take the shot on. They're not going to try and dribble through you. Man City have the most shots from outside the box. Foden's had the most shots.
They?
They have a lot of shots from outside the box. Them and is it there's another team in the league who have lots. Villa. Them and Villa have lots of shots from outside the box. Foden, Bernardo, they back themselves. So if you're Foden especially will look to get the ball on that left foot, and if we're stood off and go on, he's going to get good chance of scoring, isn't he?
Midfield then, Sam, I'll stick with you, mate.
Yeah. I think we do nothing different.
Yeah.
McAllister was a real worry.
Shout for Curtis Jones.
I love Curtis. He did the same thing he's done every year of his career. Unfortunately for him, get in the team and get a knock. And he would have been in this team now and probably performing. But McAllister's a World Cup winner, Copa America 2-time winner, unbelievable footballer, now Premier League winner. I think he's got everything in his armoury when he's 100%. When he's even at 8 out of 10, 80, 90%, he's no good for us, but he's back there now. When he's back there, get the most out of him you can, because when he drips a little bit, he'll have to come out.
What you're saying is we've seen the return of the Mac.
The Mac is back, yeah. Once again. But honestly, like, while he's in this form, he's got to be on the pitch.
Yeah.
Got to be.
He was brilliant against Real Madrid. And what I thought, I don't know whether you agree with this, the link-up play with him and Vert, two footballers within 5-10 yards of each other, man, special things happened.
I think Alexis McAllister is one of the most underrated Premier League players. I don't think he gets anywhere near the appreciation, not from us, of course, but I think from every other team, every other fan. They don't look at Alexis McAllister in the way they should, because in terms of close control, in terms of finding a pass in behind or someone who's able to completely control a match, he's second to none. He is outstanding. And while he's in this team, like you said perfectly, the only thing I can maybe think of Slot looking at it and thinking, right, he played 79 minutes against Madrid, he worked his arse off there. Can he be pushing him? Can he be going, right, keep going? Because he's going to, of course, go away. He's going to play for Argentina if he's back to this form. That's going to shatter him out more. Is there a world where he could look at him and maybe... I'd start him, but I do think he'll probably come off a little bit earlier than he did against Madrid.
Yeah, okay. I think, and we want the same setup as we've seen in the sort of last couple of games as well.
With Curtis on the bench, who comes in and it's like for like, wherever he goes, maybe bar Grav, because Grav's just out there on his own. It's just like for like. He's that good. Yeah. So I think, I don't mind. I think McAllister start, and then if he does, you've got Curtis straight in.
Suppose like... I don't know if we're going to talk, he has to be. I was looking through, I was getting my big spreadsheet of stuff.
Yes.
Mate, he's the second for most passes attempted. He's got the most progressive passes, the most progressive carries, the most shot creating actions and goal creating actions, the most tackles won and attempted, highest in the defensive third, midfield third, second in attack and third, and the second most touches and highest for carrying distance. Like, he's everywhere. And against City, who, like you said before, we need to be aggressive and win those balls. If he's our highest tackler in the defensive third as a midfielder, and he's also creating our most chances, he is going to be imperative for this match.
That is the definition of a box-to-box midfielder.
That is all-round midfielder.
He is what, in reality, he has been this season what English people think Declan Rice is. No, Rice is a brilliant player. Rice is a brilliant footballer, and Arsenal are a great team, but Szoboszlai is what people close their eyes and see Rice as.
Yeah.
But he's actually he's action-packed.
100%.
He's one big performance, right, away. Like, he's like a winning goal against Man City from being probably started to be considered an elite midfielder in the Premier League. We love him. We know what he is and that. But, I mean, I think if he scores a rocket, like he almost did against Madrid, or he scores that one-on-one, he scores, we win the game 1-0, 2-1, whatever, I think people start going, he's in that ilk now. I think he's just that performance, that one more. Because he got the Arsenal goal, but he's right back. He's performed amazing this season, but the Reds have been a bit crap at times and not got the results. But if we go and get a third win, imagine we get a clean sheet to it, and it's Szoboszlai who runs the show. I think people start looking at him and going, wow, we've got a superstar in the league again.
Oh.
He's not that far away. The stats prove it, don't
Slot said today, or someone said to Slot, didn't he, like, Gerrard would be proud of the performances he's given this season. Slot was like, I'll praise that. But
right,
it's true. It's absolutely right.
True.
It's got to do 10 years of it now.
So then the forwards... we've already decided on Vert, I think, the three of us, haven't we? I'm in on him. Isak's probably not going to be able to start. There was a chat here from Callum, actually. If Isak is back, do you play him up top and Ekitike on the wing, or do we stick with Vert on the wing, Ekitike up top? I wasn't interested personally in the Ekitike chat on the wing until I saw him do it the other week, and I thought his link-up play was really good. And I think sometimes that's probably... that's probably Gakpo's downfall. He's a great player and he's so impactful, but like I don't think it's been particularly easy for Kerkez to link up with him. I don't think there's trust there at the moment. Yeah. Even Robbo, after playing with him for a year and a half, I think still it's not the same as when Mane was up there. But Ekitike just seemed to have a little bit of everything on that left.
He's just got lots and lots of talent, hasn't he? His dribbling ability, his sort of swagger on the pitch is just brilliant. He picks up good spaces, he battles well. He's just a really good footballer who's going to get very, much better as he gets more experience under his belt and know-how. So I can see it. I think.
But Isak's not going to start, so.
Yeah, Isak's not going to start. He's not going to play Chiesa. And so I think the reality of it is that.
How do we know? Look at the past.
Well, imagine if he just pulled him out for City away. I've been saving him, lads.
That's mad, isn't it? You just, yeah. But I think it's interesting because with the Vert Ekitike, and we mentioned Isak, I think this is for another show, but fuck it, right? I think the iteration that we saw against Madrid is very similar to what we're going to see when Mo Salah goes away. If Isak's fully fit and fine, or you play Chiesa or Gakpo in that, I think you're playing. I spoke to you privately about this, Chris, and what you and Paul were talking about on your show, the Press and Matter show. Brilliant episode, the latest one, yeah. Where not necessarily where you've got Vert in a 10 in front of the 3, but the way you've got Vert in one of the wide positions and drifts. I think that's the future, but he can probably do it from the right as well if need be, and you almost have Ekitike as a left striker and Isak up top. So I see what we did the other day against football teams as the potential way of getting our best players in the team, in that you have the midfield 3, which is just your solid rock foundation, your back 4 we know about. Hopefully Alisson's back soon as well. But then you've got that opportunity to play Salah, Ekitike, Isak, even Gakpo, Chiesa if need be. But what you're doing is you're getting Vert in the side, allowing him to invert from whatever side he's on, and you've got 2 lads in front of him all the time. So I think that this is if he doesn't play Vert on Sunday, it would be a real shame, because you go from that unbelievable performance, should have had an assist, could have been man of the match if it's 1-0 if it's Sobbo who scores, and we go out the team, we go back to Gakpo, and it's almost like, where's the rhythm and momentum coming from? So I fully believe that Vert will start this game.
Yeah, so Vert, Ekitike up top for everybody. Yeah. Salah obviously on that right-hand side. Oh, just on Ekitike, I've said this for a couple of people, I think after the game the other day, he's fucking magic. You just said it out. He's going to get so much better because he's really, really raw still. Yeah. It's like sometimes he's a bit of a child where he want to beat you the most difficult way. And it's like, and then all of a sudden you kind of grow up and you become Alan Shearer or Harry Kane. You don't even bother beating them. Yeah. You just swat it in the back of the net instead, don't you? And that's that sort of youthful exuberance that Ekitike's got. And if he's still this good now, when he's still so raw, I can't imagine what he's going to be like in a couple of years.
Mate, he's going to be class. And this is the thing, when we criticised Nunez, it wasn't for the lack of trying. It was just the end product. Ekitike's got that end product, but he's still willing to, like you said, he will play off the last man. He's great in the air. The thing I love about him is his link up, because we looked at him and thought, big tall striker, he's probably going to be a good finisher. That's just about it. But it's the fact that when he can come deep, he links up so well with everyone. He creates and then moves with it. He doesn't just stay behind and let everyone else carry on. I'm so happy with the way that he's integrated himself into this team in a summer where Salah's just signed a new contract and everyone thought, right, he's going to become the star man as usual. Isak's just come in. We've just signed Vert. Ekitike, I think, went under the radar for a lot of people in terms of, Isak's the big target. He's come in and blew all expectation out of the water. He's been phenomenal. And there has been a couple of games recently where he's sort of not dropped off, because he's still creating chances and he's still getting on the end of things. And he scored against, who was it he scored against? It was offside. Was it Villa? Yeah, scored the first goal. Yeah. So he's still there or thereabouts, and I'm just looking forward to seeing, when things continue to click the way they are, how many goals he's going to score.
Absolutely.
I think City's back 5 are man for man just a rung below Real Madrid's back 5. The pace of Huijsen and was it Militao played?
Yeah.
Quick. It's like going up against our back 2 when Van Dijk stretching his legs. So Ekitike did sometimes get into some real battles they're running behind, but whoever plays a centre-back for City has not got that pace. Nunez isn't as good a footballer as Valverde. We can all agree that. And whoever played left-back, was it Correas, whatever his name is?
He's in a tough battle with Mo Salah.
Him and O'Reilly, talent-wise, probably not much between that, really, to be fair. But if you look at it, the back 2 that he's just come up against, quicker, fresher, stronger than what City had. So if he can take that in, he might get a bit more joy.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I'm going to ask for some score predictions then. While you have a little think, I'm going to give you mine. I'm going to say we beat Real Madrid and Manchester City 2-0 each last season. This season we've beaten Real Madrid 1-0, so I'm going to say 1-0 to Liverpool.
Oof.
And a third clean sheet. And a Florian Wirtz first goal.
Mate, that's pressure. That. I think 2-1 to us. I mean, right. I'm going to sound like a right tween or whatever, but I dreamt that XTK scores and does the knee slide. Don't know why. I woke up this morning and was like, did I dream that last night? I'm sure I did.
think he'll score first. I think we'll go 2-0 up, and City might find a way of getting a goal. Haaland just picks a loose ball up in the box and smashes it home or something like that. We win 2-1. I think, but I'm really confident going after this week. Really confident.
I'm excited. Sorry, just really quick as well. I'm excited about seeing Salah because he touched on it in the press conference and he said, look, he was coming a lot deeper. His ground duels were great. His ball recoveries. Is that something you've coached in him, or is that something he's just done? And he was like, look, against these teams, you have to do that. So I'm excited to see, is he going to come deeper and offer support, or is he going to just go back to being on his own?
I think he will. He always has done against City. You always see him on the edge of the area helping against Kevin De Bruyne back in the day and stuff. But I do think that we have to employ that tactic every game now. Because if Salah's not going to get the goals and assists that he got last season, he shouldn't get the free pass on the defensive side of things, because we look so much better pressing high with everybody. And you can't press with 10 men. We know that. And if he's not putting the numbers in, he has to work hard. And if that shortens his career, Yeah. Unfortunately. So, yeah, there you go. That is the Uncensored Match build-up show. Callum's gone for 3-2 Liverpool. Big King has gone for 2-1 Liverpool. Let's hope that Liverpool do get the result that we need to take us, I suppose, into second place in the Premier League. So, yeah, big thank you to everybody watching. Big thank you to Sam and to Lewis for this one. I've enjoyed that, and we'll see you next time on the Redmen TV.